Welcome back. Let's talk about manufacturing now because these are very tough time for local manufacturers in this country. Now, recently, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, released its half-year report. The report highlighted the difficult challenges local manufacturers are battling to keep their operations going. Now, the report says consumers' low purchasing power occasioned by the surging inflation rate in the country as well as the devaluation of the local currency caused by Forex scarcity, of course, is making many products unaffordable as manufacturers' inventories of unsold finished goods rose by 45.4% in 1 year alone. Now, this figure represents a significant uptick to 271 billion naira from the 187 billion naira recorded during the same period in 2022. According to MAN, the 2.8% increase in the monetary value of manufacturing sector production over the period of 1 year when inflation is at 24.08% at the same period clearly indicates a struggling sector. The report added that key sectors like manufacturing and agriculture, which play a vital role in Nigeria's economy, suffer as higher fuel costs drive up expenses related to machinery, irrigation, and transportation. Now, to shed more light on that report, the Segun Ajayi Kadri, who is the Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, now joins me on the show. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on the program. So, tell us exactly, that part of the report that says the inventory of unsold finished products, rose by over 45%. That is really disturbing. But beyond what you mentioned in the report as the reason for it, what other reasons could be responsible for this situation in the manufacturing sector?
Yes, okay. So thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. And for the average manufacturer, what you will imagine to be his greatest joy is to produce. But his greatest nightmare is to produce and not be able to sell. And that's exactly what you have described. If you have unsold inventory, what it means is that your warehouses are filled up with the end product that you have. And then because your factory is not designed to hold such an inventory, you need to go hire other warehouses and you pay rent on those to keep those products because you cannot put out there without protecting them. And in most cases, those products have expiry dates or best before dates. So you need to ensure that you get them into the market before you arrive at those dates. So for us, unsold inventory is a nightmare. And when you see the kind of steep escalation that we have reported in the half-year economic review, it means that the manufacturing sector is in danger. What is primarily responsible for it is consumer apathy. You would recall that during this process, we had government policies that badly impacted the purchasing power of the average Nigerians. You had the Naira transition. You also had the steep devaluation of the currency. You had the removal of fuel subsidy and the floating of the Naira rate. All of those have tended to increase the cost. And the average Nigerian now has less cash to purchase goods that their prices have gone up. So they have to prioritize, and that has reduced the number of purchases that they have to make. Also, manufacturing production has been constrained. Constrained in the sense that all our cost factors, be it raw materials, be it logistics to get them to the factory, and even the servicing of our loan facilities have gone up. All of this taking place at the same time within a half year has tended to badly impact on our performance. And that is what our report has shown.
Now, one very worrying aspect of that report is a part that says that no fewer than 3,567 jobs were lost. I mean, happening at a time when you need more Nigerians to be gainfully employed. That is very worrying.
Very worrying. And that is actually a reflection of the job creation differential that we noticed between the year 2022 and 2023 half year. Normally, everybody imagines that the greatest employer of labor is manufacturing all over the world. Yes. The sector is looked upon as the sector that can guarantee sustainable employment platform. And it is rightly so, because in the service sector, people move in and out. But in a manufacturing business, if you are producing, you are on the factory floor, you are the admin section, you are in the consumer engagement section, you are in the regulatory section, it is expected that you can only grow so long as the performance of the industry is upscaling. So you can rely on the sector. But what we are seeing now is that there's a steep drop in terms of how many people are engaged in that sector. What does that tell you? It tells you that all is not well with the industry. And the indicators are there. You have inflation going at 25.8%. You have the interest rate that is not competitive for an average manufacturer. You can see the cost of electricity. By the way, electricity accounts for about 30 to 40% of our cost structure. So when you see the price of diesel going much higher, and the subsidy on petrol has been removed for small and medium-scale industries who rely on it for their power generation, you can see a dip in electricity supply. And the price of gas, which is denominated in dollars, continues to rise. It constrains the productive capacity of the sector. You can only expect that you either downsize or you limit the number of people that you can engage. And that's what we have seen that has translated in this steep dip. One is only expectant that we get out of this scenario so that you avoid a situation where manufacturing goes into recession. I think that would be an unpleasant condition. And that's why the recent policies of this government should be communicated and targeted in such a way that it redresses these binding constraints.
Let's talk about Forex now, because I know it's one of the major challenges that manufacturers face in this country. They are not able to access Forex, especially through the official window now, to get their essential raw materials. Tell us how badly the manufacturing sector has been affected by the current Forex scarcity we're dealing with in the country at the moment.
Yes, okay. Everybody generally agreed that you needed to floor the rates. The disparity between the official and, let me use the word, unofficial market does not mean well for anyone. So the attempt to achieve a convergence of the rates was widely welcome. But what we have seen now is that there's inadequacy of supply, and that has tended to bring back the gap that we have between the R&E window, for instance, and then what we have in the bureau de change or the black market or the autonomous market, whichever one you decide to use. Whichever way you look at it, for the average Nigerian and for the average manufacturer, it means that you are going to procure your raw materials, your machines, and your spare parts at rates that are a lot higher. What would be normally expected is that, okay, you go all the way, still make those purchases of those inputs, and then put the cost on the average consumer. The average consumer now has apathy, his disposable income has reduced, and then he's not able to make the kind of purchases that you have. That is where the dilemma to the manufacturer in terms of its inability to get Forex at the right rate lies. So there is inadequacy of supply. There's also the fact that a manufacturer has to struggle in the same market that somebody who just trades in products. All the inputs that goes into a manufactured product is badly impacted by this escalation in the rate of the Forex. So for us, it is more impactful than you will have for a normal business. And most manufacturers now are finding it very, very difficult to import their raw materials. And to compound that, in recent times, the CBN has come out with what it calls the price verification platform, which has tended to set a framework for determining how much you are going to import your raw materials. And this is being unmindful of the pre-existing relationship that you have with your suppliers. Right. And a situation has even arisen that depending on where you import your raw materials from, or your spares or your machines, the importer throws you out of your capacity to generate your Form M. Now, there has to be an engagement before you introduce such a platform so that you relate with those who normally trade in that sector, for you to be able to appreciate what it takes for them to do the importation. So the Forex challenge that we have, on one hand, it is scarce, on one hand, it is expensive. You now have a situation where when you go through all of those and you are ready to make the imports for you to get your input into the country, you now have a price verification platform that throws you upscale. So I have my members now that for the last 3-4 weeks, they are unable to import their raw materials. They are not able to meet their market orders, and they retain the same number of staff, and they retain the same cost of logistics. So I think that something needs to be done in order to wind down the tension that affects the sector in terms of Forex availability and in terms of the use of the little Forex that they're able to have.
Let me get your take now. I mean, how does the association see the statement now made by the new CBN governor? During his confirmation hearing at the Senate, he said that one of the first things he would do now to address the Forex situation is to clear the backlog now of unsettled Forex obligations now by the central bank, believing that of course would partly solve the problem and lead to foreign investors, or inflows, if you like, coming into the country. What do you make of that?
No, I think it's an excellent statement to make. And we only look forward to a translation into practice. Because one of the most important things that's going to do for us is that it's going to restore confidence in the system to ensure that once you have those, our government will get around to fulfilling its obligation, which is what is expected to do, and that they are going to clear the backlog. I think that is where it's best for us to start, so that we will know that what we now have to look forward to are new requirements. And once government is able to do that, it is going to reactivate those manufacturing processes, for instance, that had to slow down or shut down because they didn't have the availability. I think that is the right thing to do. But immediately he should start to look forward to, because others don't stop. So he should start to look forward to how to reassure those new orders that they are going to be so treated, and those foreign investors that we are looking forward to come, that we have integrity in the system, and our government is responsible enough to fulfill its own side of the bargain. I believe that every investor relies on prospects, or what they can see, or what they can assume will happen. And so it is a lot better. I mean, I will rate the kind of the assurance that he has given has been a lot better than relying on convincing people from outside the country to come and invest in the country. Because as a matter of fact, after listening to all the cases that we make for foreign direct investment, they are still going to get in touch with those who operate already in the environment to be able to make up their minds as to whether it makes a lot of sense for you to come into the country. No investor is going to come into the country because you have asked him to. He's going to do intelligence, he's going to ask those who already operate, and he's going to look at the trend. So if you are now told that the CBN in Nigeria has ensured the clearance of the backlog that he has in terms of forex allocation is going to reassure the future ones that, yes, we are going to have a system that fulfills its obligations and that government is alive to its responsibility.
Now, just before I let you go, tell us what your members, manufacturers now in this country, what are they doing to stay afloat in this difficult environment, to keep their operations going?
I think the Nigerian manufacturers are one of the most resilient in the world. We have defied all challenges to survive. And when the president said that he has come with the renewed hope, I mean, I wonder whether he's been having a lot of conversation with manufacturers. We need to renew our hope in investment in manufacturing in Nigeria. So we are looking forward, manufacturers are actively looking forward to government translating all the promises that has been made, because the president and all those that he has engaged to be his ministers, his advisors, they have said the right things, that we are going to grow domestic manufacturing. We want to move away from being a consumption country to a producing country. All the right things have been said. It's for us now to move towards removing those binding constraints that have limited the performance of the manufacturing sector, particularly those low-hanging fruits that we have communicated, part of which we have said on this platform. So what we are looking forward to is a situation where we depart from the practices, including government regulations, including regulatory agencies of government, including those fiscal and monetary policies that we all know have not done well for the sector. So it is for us, we are looking forward to a removal of those ones, particularly those ones that we have highlighted in our numerous engagements with government. That is what the Nigerian manufacturer is looking forward to.
Mr. Segun Ajayi Kadir, thank you very much for coming on the program, and thank you for your time.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so very much. Yeah. All right, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places, the Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On DEJI360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
DEJI360, dissecting the issues.